going on here? Because Bolarinwa, landmark decision here. Ethiopia and Eritrea. It looks like
It looks like romance, bro.
yes, yes.
They were hugging and stuff. I was like, come on. Yeah.
Based on the I believe they call it the seaports where Eritrea sits between, is it the Suez Canal and the Red Sea or so, because of the important channel that it sits on, Ethiopia decided to mend fences with Eritrea after, what is it now? This conflict has
20
been
years.
20 year regional
It's been
conflict.
so
Yeah,
long, man. So long.
very long. Over 100,000 lives have been lost. Accusations back and forth about sponsoring terrorist activity between each other. Somebody on Twitter likened this to Israel and Palestine
Yeah.
mending fences.
That would be
major stuff.
world peace.
It's huge.
Landmark.
You
Yeah.
know, how did you see this? How did you see what happened?
Well, I think this is a major breakthrough, especially for Ethiopia, because they, though Eritrea's economy is that very small.
Yeah.
That's just about $2 billion dollar economy compared to about 70 something billion-dollar economy that Ethiopia sits on. But in terms of strategic benefit that Ethiopia has to gain from this relationship, it made a lot of sense to just mend fence after 20 years. I think Africa is beginning to move away from wars or conflicts that really don't add economic value to the parties, because again all these are communal clashes,
Right.
allegations and things that really at the end of the day puts the people in a difficult position.
Right.
In terms of trade, you need this seaports to reach out to the Western world.
Right.
You need partnership in terms of skills, as against getting expatriate from Europe
Overseas,
to
yeah.
come in.
Right.
So all of those benefits cannot just be put aside because of some sort of cultural beliefs, some sort of uh, insinuations
Right,
that really
right.
does not add value. I think they weighed it carefully and looked at the benefits against the demerits of going the routes that they've gone in the last 20 years,
Right.
and now they've decided to toe this line, and I think it's really going to add value to both countries.
Yeah, yeah.
We are likely to see a leap from a 2 billion economy for Eritrea to something significant.
Yeah,
and for Ethiopia, it's going to, Ethiopia does a lot of coffee and the likes, flour, and a couple of other agricultural products that they need to ship and things like that. So if they are able to forge this relationship beyond this, that we are going to see significant trade development amongst both countries.
Well, Ira, I want to get your thoughts on one more thing. We have to talk about. See, this somehow Nigeria has to be involved in this. I want to get your thoughts on swift action of government. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was sworn in April. We're just 10 days into July, and this was one of the first things on his agenda. He quickly said he had to make these reforms. Also, he's also said they've announced plans to open up state monopolies in sugar, airlines, telecommunications to foreign investors between April and just 10 days into July. I mean, I just wanted to get your thoughts on how fast he has moved.
Interestingly, this speaks to our environment here. We have leaders that are not crops of leaders that really don't get prepared for the office. They will I say gamble and don't really prepare for governance itself. They prepare for the politics, but when it comes to the governance itself, they are found wanting. This is a guy who came in April and has been able to achieve this landmark, something that has taken 20 years to be solved. Meaning he came into office with a clear plan
straight away.
And implementation from day one was what he ventured into. as against coming into office, spending months after months, putting plan in place. After you had given rhetorics during the campaign period of what you're going to do, meaning you are not even conversant symptoms and don't really understand the issues.
Right.
So the symptoms are glaring, but the issues are difficult to understand. So we need leaders that can understand the issues and not chase symptoms.
Right.
If you have malaria, headache is a symptom.
Right.
The feverish condition is a symptom. Malaria is the issue.
Right.
So let's tackle this issue while the symptoms will disappear.
Swift economic reforms, ladies and gentlemen. It is highly important that our leaders understand how to tackle these things quickly. But the consumer expectations survey from the CBN for the first quarter of the year, they just released that. They tweeted it yesterday. I was just taking a look. Interesting stuff. I think just a quick survey. What they surveyed a few thousand people are in around the geopolitical zones just to get their thoughts on prices and stuff for the first quarter and how they see their purchasing power going forward. It wasn't very positive for this particular quarter. Yeah. Interesting enough.
Yeah, really, it wasn't positive. The report says that overall outlook of consumer was negative in the current quarter. A couple of factors. The key drivers includes upward expectation of upward movement in prices of education, medical care, transportation, electricity, house rent, food, and other household needs. These are things that directly impact you and I. So if the expectation of prices are looking in the upward trajectory, definitely consumers perception, consumers expectation, and the index is definitely going to look south.
And it's very interesting. Inflation has been dropping, but yet it doesn't seem like the impact of inflation is being felt by people.
The pace is dropping. That's what the data is telling us. The pace of the increase in price is dropping, but there's still price increase. So for people who pay school fees, they will tell you what they feel. People who pay rent and the likes, they know what they're going through. These days you see people check out of the country because it tells you the outlook of especially the youth about where the country is headed. And well, it's really sad.
Wow. Okay, so messages here. Benga Kamo says Ethiopia and Eritrea prove again that there are no permanent friends or enemies but permanent interests. He also says we all know it doesn't take forever to make a change. Our leaders here don't get it. Our leaders have no vision or practical plan. See what that Malawian leader did when she came into office. Yes, that's another good point. Malawi, I was going to mention that as well. Rainmaker, our politicians are driven by greed and motivated by bad structures, favored by the system. Good for Eritrea and Ethiopia. It's a beginning for more economic beneficial relationships. We have found out what we can do with Lake Lake Chad after so many economic beneficial suggestions made. Rotus, when are we expecting interim dividends? Rainmaker. In fact, you should follow. Nairametrics has a daily update as far as dividends are concerned and what companies are paying out. We should actually make that a segment on the program. Any other messages, Folu?
Yeah, we've got this one in from one of our listeners who says, "What's the significance of the Ethiopia story in relation to business news? Isn't that a political discussion? That should be part of the main discussions."
Well, you've read the first two messages from Benga and Rainmaker. The importance of the
the reality is businesses operate within the political space.
Exactly.
So if wrong decisions are made by the politicians, businesses get grounded. We saw how we found ourselves in a recession. Those factors were just because the politicians did not take the necessary steps.
Right.
Yeah, there were external factors, but we could have steered our way away from the recession quickly, or we would have even been able to avoid an outright recession.
Right.
The first quarter we saw a dip. The second quarter we went into a dip, which culminated in a recession. So these are political decisions that we've seen not come true as expected.
Well, you got this one in from Shala, who says if Israel and Palestine carried out this particular type of bromance, the world would just declare 7-day festival straight away. And they also said 1/3 of the horseman was just saying that Buhari all through that leadership conversation.
Right? Exactly. I mean, that's the point of making this. I mean, again, the man came into office in April. It is July, and look at what he has. Look, Ethiopian Airlines also said they're now going to start flying to Eritrea, so they've now opened up another channel there. Telecommunication. I mean, it's you can see the impact.
But also in looking in places how you said business operates within political climates, right? Let's look at the structure and infrastructure that existed in ground before this person came into office in April.
Right.
If it didn't exist in Nigeria, I mean, we can't really compare as apples and oranges, isn't it?
Folu.
Is the reality of our situation.
Yeah.
We can't keep living in the cloud.
Okay, what are we doing about our ports? What are we doing? The port is the Suez Canal and the what is it now? The channel between the Suez Canal and the Red Sea or the Mediterranean. They need that port in order to ship the agricultural produce that they make. Yeah, that is our own ports. Warri is moribund. The one in Port Harcourt is not working. The Lagos one is congested. So you can say infrastructure, but we know what we've had to have done for so many years.
There are quick wins, and there are long-term
quick wins,
projects.
Right.
Yes.
But the unpleasant one is the fact that you don't even say anything
about those particular issues.
And businesses cannot operate in an environment of uncertainty.
Yeah. It would be a quick win for me if they fix the potholes on the road.
Oh,
Shout out Lagos State government, we love you. But the rains are here. Zumba is peeling up again. It's like dodging cars on the streets. We don't know.
It's
Please.
something else. All right. Dangote, we were praising him yesterday with a number of agreements that he was making. Today is another one. Tomatoes. He signed an agreement. I think he wants to pump in about 500 million naira into Katsina for tomatoes research and development and a number of other things. Is this a wise decision considering where we are with tomatoes production in Nigeria?
I think this tilts more in the direction of politics, because really he himself invested in setting up a plant that has been struggling to work because of this tomato issue.
Right.
So I think this is more of just
an announcement. We have to balance that. They called yesterday the Dangote show because we were talking about the oil refinery, we're talking about the fertilizer plant. So we have to balance that. The tomato move, I'm not really sure if that's a good one.
That's what I'm saying. Let's deal with our reality. Let's not be angry. It's the Republic of Dangote.
But still, we say do your due diligence for buying any stock. Dangote portfolio it's a successful portfolio, so do look at that for stocks. Bola, thank you so much for joining us this morning on Business Express. 1/3 of the horsemen. I appreciate you, and thank you all for your messages. We always love your messages that you send into the show.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That was enlightening even for me. Coming up next, though, we have got Kylie Baker is going to be coming in actually all the way from South Africa. He's going to be filling us in on his essay experience. Big shout out to the essay experience guys that took him out there. We're going to be finding about his journey from Joburg to Mpuma. That was Mr. Afa trending in.